So,
It was the lowest part of the property as it
yeah,
happened.
because if anybody's looked at our early pictures, the top of the hill here was just bald. This was just, there was nothing up here, and you could see
Yeah.
the lines where the cattle would
You can
walk.
see where the forest ended.
Yeah. Um, so where was the pictures of that the remnants of the farm of the farmer's barn where it's just the
Oh, well,
foundation
keep coming towards the bottom of the picture.
down this way?
Yeah, well, where's the caribou? No,
Uh,
no.
the
It was,
caribou is right here.
well, but the barn was very near the top of the hill.
Okay,
As soon as you got off the lift, you went
so this
straight
would be
ahead.
this would be
Yeah,
the top of the hill.
yeah.
If you would have got off the
So
lift,
see where the caribou curves. Okay, right there, stop. There's a clearing right below your cursor. There's
oh,
a clearing. That's where the barn was.
oh, it was okay. Oh wow, I didn't. Okay, I
So,
thought it was.
and I correct myself. The barn was there because the spring just below mom and dad's house provided water to the barn through gravity.
Okay,
When we first went there, I remember there was this water or pipe coming out of the ground in the corner of the barn. And if you shook it, water would come out of the bottom of it, like there's a crack in it. So it was delivering water to the cattle to the barn from that spring where dad eventually had his water works.
okay, because this is where your dad's house was
Yeah,
right
so
here.
there's
Yeah.
a direct line from the barn up to right about there.
So that's where that barn was.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing I was going to ask you about that barn. So, and all the pictures that I have of you around there, there's really not much left of it. Was there, is that as far as your memory, that's all that was ever there was
Well,
just,
there was no wood left when we came there.
okay.
Uh, there was just stone, and we took a bunch of stone out of it to build the fireplace in the chalet. I can remember going there with the car haze red 1-ton truck and loading stone on it. And probably we did the same with the tractor and the wagon to take it all the way down, around, down the fifth line to the chalet. But we camped in that. There's a picture of me tenting
Yeah.
in that barn, and we cobbled together a fence so the cows wouldn't get into the barn foundation and wreck our campsite. It was all pasture, right? I mean, the cattle had access to the whole 100 acres. It was all fenced, but no other fences.
Yeah. Cause if people look at, on Facebook, the pictures that we have at the very beginning of 1960, this is all bald. There's nothing
That's right.
up here.
Just a couple little scrubs.
Yeah. And you essentially planted all these trees up here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever have any idea of how old the remnants of that barn was, like when it was originally?
No, I never did find where the farmhouse would have been.
Oh, okay.
I did find at the top of the hill, not far from where Dad's little cable tow ended, a shard of some sort of pottery that would probably indicated that the house was on the top of the hill, above the barn.
Yeah.
But I never really ascertained. Now you could probably, if you did some real serious research, you could find out when the barn was built, when the place was settled even.
Yeah.
But
So you said something just a bit ago that I think I vaguely remember. So when your dad built his house up here, right? And I don't know if this property line is the same when he built.
yes, I do. I can tell you all about that
So
property.
you said he had his own little cable tow up here.
Oh yeah.
So where was that from where to where? So he could like basically ski
Before
down
I
this?
answer that question, that's 7 acres that you're looking at. When he knew he was going to get out of the ski business altogether, and I was going to languish and be a bad guy the rest of my life, he severed 2 pieces of land. One the other was the continuation of the boundaries of his 7 acres or so each. I was to have the other one, which went over and across the little blue line right to the corner of the property.
Oh, over here,
And
basically.
I was all set on, spending the rest of my life building myself a little house in that property and never did.
Okay.
So obviously it was not a separate severance, at least at the time that picture was done.
Okay.
So it was never a very sensible thing because you couldn't get at it, through its own property because it didn't front on a road.
Right. Right. Yep. No, it would have been nice to have, but like you were saying, there's no real access to it.
Yeah, well, I could not have afforded it anyway. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stay in the valley at that point. I wanted to get away from there.
Um, so your dad basically just had like a little, when you say cable tow, like the same cable tow going up to the top of the
Well,
knob?
no, wait a minute. The rope tow at the bottom, our initial, very first rope tow that, Dad and his uh, friend built,
Right.
it came up to the top of the hill and went onto Dad's property
Oh, okay.
after the sale. So he by that time it was not a rope tow, it was a cable tow,
Yeah.
and it went straight from. I'm trying to get this straight. Yeah, right below the line, the black line of the property line, there's a clearing right parallel to the property line.
Down
I'm
here.
sorry, go back up to the house. Go back up to the house. That's their house.
Yep.
Just go straight towards the chalet, a short distance. Stop. That is where the top of the little cable tow was, and it went down through a little, right there. There's a little. You're missing it. There's a little tiny clearing below the cursor. Below the cursor.
Oh, down here.
Whoa! Stop. And from there up to the top of the hill, if you turn to the right, you just crossed it. That's it. Whoa! Stop. That's it. You're on it. That's the cable tow.
Okay.
500 feet long, and we built cleared little ski trails through the land on either side of it. And we used to have my stepson at the time and his sister and my daughter and my sister's kids, they used to ski on that. So we start up Dad's little cable tow. I think there's a picture there somewhere that the top terminal that Dad built for the initial one down at the chalet, the cable tow. He modified that rope tow to make a cable tow.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I remember that from being up at your dad's house. That's interesting.
You may not.
Do you remember, was that pretty late on in adventure when he put that cable?
Well, I don't think it was removed while Dad was living, but I couldn't say that for sure.
But I mean, do you have an idea of when he put it in?
Yes, I do. When the whole, his involvement in the business ended, in other words, after the fire,
Okay.
they said, you can have everything you want, let's retire the debt. So he took the cable tow up to the top of the hill and took a year or two, I think, to get it installed up there. But he had electricity to the bottom of it by virtue of the fact that we had, in the very first snowmaking endeavor, we had installed this big tank underground in that, I'll call it a water course for want of a better term, the little valley where the cable tow started. We had electricity there so we could pump water from that 10,000 gallon tank we bought.
So where was that at?
Right at the bottom of the cable tow.
Down in here?
Right there.
That's where the big tank was?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I remember you telling me about that.
Well, I don't know whatever happened to it. I imagine it's caved in now. Maybe somebody buried it. Probably the owner has, because it would have been well, he didn't own it, actually. The owner of the house owned it, but God knows what they did with it.
Right.
I think the cable tow was still there when Dad died, but.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
We took it down. Yeah. See,
don't know.
that's probably after the last time. Yeah. So you're talking, like in the early 80s, and I think probably the last time I was up there when it was probably, like late 70s. So that's probably why I don't remember that.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the last time that I was up there was when I was telling you that story when the car got stuck
The
up.
car switch. Yeah, you never did ski on that cable tow then.
No, and I don't remember anything about it either. Because like I said, obviously I spent a lot of time in your dad's house.
Yeah.
And all around this area, and I know he would have showed that to me.
Well, very likely, yes.
Yeah, so.
There was a big garden there that Margaret and I fenced right where your cursor is, like just north of the house. Yeah, we had a big garden in there.
Okay. Yeah, that was probably after my time when he did that. That was pretty cool though, having your own little private ski lift.
Yeah.
Or made it even better if he had a snow gun up there blowing some snow on it.
We didn't get quite that far.